One way to know God's voice, it seems to suggest here, is to be personally involved with God. Not just know about God, but know God. In fact, I believe that God speaks directly to those who know him well. He speaks to many people. Scripture shows that he speaks to non-believers and believers. But believers would want to really know what he's saying for the direction of their life. And in order to do that, Scripture is suggesting we have to really know and be familiar with God. Are we familiar with him? Are we familiar with his ways? Do we spend personal time with God? Because I believe if Samuel had, even at a young age, done that perhaps, maybe he would have recognized God's voice. But it's all in God's timing when he calls you and makes you and I aware of his word and his presence. Second word. It said that Eli discerned. Actually, this version said, the word that's closest to the Hebrew is discern, English-wise. And so when I looked it up in the Hebrew, where it says Eli perceived, or Eli discerned that the Lord was calling the child, when you look up that word, it means to discern, to observe, to pay attention, to understand, to have insight. In fact, the word implies the concept of distinguishing between good and evil. So what that means then is not only if we know God personally and we're spending time with God, we can hear his voice more clearly because we're being still and we know God personally, intimately. But it also means that we cannot just hear God, we can understand him, we can have insight. That's what the Hebrew is saying. We can observe, we can pay attention on a deeper level than just knowing here. It comes to this drop right to the heart. And that we can distinguish good from evil. There are a lot of voices out there in the world. Which one is God? You got people telling you all these different things. I was listening to AM 1100. There's several wonderful pastors that speak on there and several wonderful Christian programs. And one of the pastors, I don't remember his name, he was talking about hearing the voice of God and knowing what to do. And he said at some early point in his ministry, he had 3 job offers in 3 different states. And he said there were 3 men in his life that if he told the audience their names would be well-known pastors, very spiritual men, very godly men. He said that each one of them told him that he should take that job over in that state. One of them told him to take that job in one state. Another one told him that they believe God's telling him to take that job in that other state, second state. And the other friend told him that I believe that God's calling you to take the job in the 3rd state. And he said, if I would have listened to my 3 godly men that he knows unequivocally are very godly men, he would have been divided in 3 places 3 different times. So that begs the question, godly people can sometimes miss the voice of God.